Hello children, welcome back to Rini ma'am's class. Today we are going to start a new lesson of grammar, and that is verbs. We are going to study in detail about verbs. Now, what are verbs? Verbs are words that tell us about the action done or the state of being or possession. I know everybody knows about verbs, but still in detail we are going to study about it, and the definition of verb is verbs are words that tell us about the action done or the state of being or possession. Now we will understand verbs with the different types of verbs. Like first we are going to understand the two different types of verbs, and they are transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. These verbs are related with the objects, transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. Now what is transitive verb? Verbs that need an object to complete their meanings are called transitive verbs. Verbs that need an object to complete their meanings are called transitive verbs. For an example, I lost my pen. So here I is subject, lost is verb, and my pen is the object. We require an object to complete the sentence. I lost. If I say simply here, I lost. So it doesn't complete the sense or doesn't complete the sentence even. So to complete the sentence and the meaning of it, these verbs require an object. I lost my pen. I hope you understood what is transitive verb. Let us know about intransitive verbs. Verbs that make sense without any object are called intransitive verbs. We don't require any object here. Like, for an example, Akriti laughed. Here, Akriti is the subject and laughed is the verb. So here, Akriti laughed. It is a complete sentence. It makes a complete sense. It doesn't require any object. So this verb is known as intransitive verb. The verb which doesn't require any object, that is called intransitive verb. Now let us know more about verb. There is direct object and indirect object. Now what is direct and indirect object? Direct object. A direct object is a noun or pronoun that receives the action of the verb. Means the direct object is the receiver of the action of the verb. For an example, Shayan caught a thief. So here Shayan is the subject, caught is the verb, and a thief is the direct object. Means verb needs the object here, which is the direct object. Caught a thief. So whom did Shayan caught? He caught a thief. So this a thief is the direct object. This verb requires this direct object. An indirect object receives the direct object. Now what is indirect object? The object which receives the direct object. For an example, you will better understand with this example. He got father a glass of water. So here he is the subject, got is the verb, father is the indirect object, and a glass of water is the direct object. Now how? He got father a glass of water. What is needed here? A glass of water. And for whom he brought that glass of water? For father. So father here is the indirect object and a glass of water is the direct object. He got father a glass of water. I hope you would have understood what is direct and indirect object related with verbs. Now let us more understand about verbs. We'll understand the main verbs and auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs are also known as helping verbs. Main verbs are the verbs which do not require helping verbs to make complete sense. Means this type of verb are those that which doesn't require any other verb to complete the sense. For an example, see, walk, read, say, talk, sleep, laugh, write, jump, cry, shout. These are the main verbs. We don't require any other supporting or helping verbs to complete the sense. Now what are auxiliary verbs? Auxiliary verbs are also called helping verbs. These verbs help the main verbs that usually come after them. Have and do are called primary auxiliary verbs because they can sometimes be used as main verb. The rest of the auxiliary verbs are called modals. They express ideas like possibility, ability, permission, obligation, suggestion, etc. Right? We will study more in detail about modals in another video. Let us understand about auxiliary verbs, the primary auxiliary verbs which are used with sometimes with the main verbs. Examples of auxiliary verb, you can see here be and do. The variations of be and do can be is, am, is, are, was, were, being, been. Mac is flying above the water. So fly is the main verb here, right? So it is supported with is, which is the auxiliary verb. Then the second one, does Mac fly? So fly again is the main verb here, which is supported by the auxiliary verb and that is does. I hope these two examples have made you much clear about auxiliary verbs. Now examples of primary auxiliary verbs have and do. And examples of modal verbs are can, may, should, will. More are there, we will discuss in next video about it. Let us understand more about verb. There is finite verb and non-finite verb. Now what is finite verb? When verb change according to tense or person, it is a finite verb. When the verb dance to the tense and changes according to the tense or the person, it is called finite verb. Now let us understand examples of finite verbs. First, Hansita sang at the concert. Second, Hansita sings at the concert. Here, sing is a finite verb as it reflects the tense and the person. Like the first one is written sang at the concert, which means it is in the past tense. And the second one, Hansita sings at the concert, is in the present tense. So finite verbs here changes according to the tense and the person. Now non-finite verbs. What are non-finite verbs? When the verb doesn't change its form according to the tense or the person, it is said to act as non-finite verbs. Non-finite verbs are also known as a type of infinitives. Let us understand with example. Hansita loves to sing. Here, sing is an infinitive here as it is unaffected by tense or person. Whether the sentence is in past or future or present, here sing, the infinitive verb, will not change according to the tense. Thank you, children. I hope you have understood the chapter. Go through the chapter in your book and do all the exercises of your book. And if you have any query, we will discuss it in the class. Thank you. Thank you for being with me always. Stay safe, stay happy.